that there's something so special about you and me, babe. So just say the words, cause you know what it means to me, babe.
Welcome to the Babes in Sports podcast. I'm Jamie Hersch.
I'm Tory Roy. We're two friends navigating being mothers, wives, and successful women in the demanding, male-dominated world of sports. James, what's going on with you this week?
We have all the sports still. Well, I guess now baseball is over. Gosh, how great was that World Series? I'm so sorry to Blue Jays fans listening.
Heartbreaking. But
I was rooting for the Jays, to be honest, but mostly because I work in hockey and everyone's Canadian.
Yeah. Fair enough. And congrats to our friends of the pod, Jess Mendoza and Steven Nelson, who work as part of the Dodgers broadcast team. And what a whirlwind, right? To be part of those 7 games.
I was watching some of Jess's and Steven's Instagram stories and everything with the parade. I'm sure they're going to get their rings and everything. And how cool is that to go back to back? And I also love Dave Roberts. Like, he's one of the best people in that game, in the game of baseball. So I'm super happy for him. What are you working on right now?
So I am going to be shifting over to some tennis coverage, upcoming tennis coverage in the next month or so. If anyone saw, the Battle of the Sexes Part 4 for tennis was just recently announced. On December 28th, world number 1, Aryna Sabalenka, is going to be playing the world number 600-ish, but he's a former Wimbledon finalist, Nick Kyrgios. They've been talking shit a little bit for the last year about playing each other and who could handle whose serve or what the score would be, and it's finally going to happen. So they're going to be making an appearance in New York City, playing at MSG before the Battle of the Sexes matchup. So I think we're going to be covering that. Going to talk to them a little bit about that. So we'll keep you all posted, but I'm excited. They're two really fun personalities outside of just the most talented tennis players you've ever seen. So it'll be fun. I don't know if it'll have Billie Jean King, Bobby Riggs vibes quite as much. I think it might be a little more serious, but we'll see. I don't know. It'll be fun.
That's so exciting. I can't wait to see that and hear all about it, because that's super cool. And someone that is like forever and in awe of Billie Jean King, like any iteration of her original Battle of the Sexes is really awesome. So.
Another person from the Dodgers we should congratulate. Yes. She's part owner, I think, right?
She is part owner.
Everywhere.
Yeah, she's everywhere. She's amazing. She's a founding member of the PWHL, which is very close to my heart, and we're getting ready for that. Can you believe it? At the time of this taping, the opening night for the PWHL, which I'm calling play-by-play for, is 2 weeks away, which is wild and exciting. Yeah, there's a lot going on, so that's going to be really fun.
And you are not currently in Florida, right?
I am. For the first time in a long time, I am not in Florida, although I was in Florida about 48 hours ago. I was lucky enough to be a part of the Decision Day crew, which Decision Day, for anyone who doesn't know, is what they call the last day of the season, because all the playoff spots are usually somewhat up for grabs. There was one final spot that was yet to be determined, and I got to call one of the games of the 2 teams that were fighting for that final playoff spot. It was a great game, super exciting, and all the games are at the same time. And so it's really cool because all of us broadcasters go there and we're all doing it at the same time. And then afterward, we had a really nice little wrap party, hotel party. And I will say there's something about working in women's sports that is just so validating and rewarding and fun, because I've never been a part of something like this where like the person in charge, who's a woman, awesome, was like handing out awards to people that like she asked everyone to write their MVP for the season, and then they tallied them up and she handed out different awards to people like broadcasters. We're talking tech people. We're talking, people behind the scenes, producers, all inclusive. And then we had like a champagne toast where everyone had a little glass of champagne like at this studio area. And it was just so positive. And
I want to do that.
I know, in sports where people are so cutthroat and so competitive over who's calling what game and who's their analyst and who's their director, who's their producer, like it just doesn't have that vibe. And it's remarkable. Like I truly feel so supported by all these other women who are probably like, oh, who's this new girl? Like, is she going to take my job? Is she going to take my assignments? But we really have this belief. And I think it's founded in reality that there is room for us all. And it's so awesome to be a part of that.
That's what it's really about, right? Is women supporting women, as much as sometimes it feels like we want to be pitted against each other. There's no need for that. There's no need. It's all about support. And you know what? That's exactly what we have on the pod for you guys today. We have been promoting this guest for a few weeks now. And we are so thrilled that all three of our schedules and all three of our time zones finally have matched up today. So we are so excited for you guys to hear. She is ESPN's Monday Night Countdown features reporter. She is mom to Blake and Wyatt, the one, the only, Michelle Beisner-Buck. Michelle, how are things in your sports world this season?
Slightly chaotic, as they always are. But this season is much different for me than it was last season. I had a rough go. I had a shattered ankle and my mom passed. And so, everyone at ESPN was very supportive and we were able to get something on the air almost every week, but it was more Zoom shoots than we would have liked up until the end of October, beginning of November. So this season kind of feels normal. It's just like running the rat race and doing everything that you can do. And it's a little bit different for me because I am also part of the show when we travel, when our show is on site. So I'm traveling during the week and I'm doing these interviews and doing these features and then going back and editing and tracking and writing and editing and tracking and writing, and you know it better than anyone. And then you go to the games. So I don't feel like I'm at home very much. In fact, I know I'm not at home very much, but that's okay. I work 7 months out of the year and I get 5 months off. So I'm not going to complain.
I also meant to bring up earlier when I was, talking to you about Jamie and how I think the three of us would be like, we would just be besties in real life. Jamie is lucky enough to be a recipient of a gold sheep pair of leggings, Michelle. Do you remember this? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. You were one of the lucky few, huh?
I forgot about this story, Tory.
I wanted to
Funny.
save it. Jamie, what is on your leggings? Please share.
Okay, so does she not know? She might not know. Michelle, this might be like breaking news. You were so kind for all of our listeners. Just a quick fill in for all of our listeners. Tory got married several years ago, had a bachelorette party. Michelle wanted to send something really special for all the bachelorette ladies that were going to be there and had these custom made amazing leggings, super comfortable, awesome. They all come, they're all matching, but for some reason, there's one that I got that has Tupac's face on it.
What? Is this for real?
This
And
is
if you
real
know
life.
Jamie, you know that's just her brand.
Well, I was just going to say, you should have sent those right to me because I would have proudly worn them and would be rocking them right now.
The girls were fighting over it.
I was just like, how did she know? This is great. No, it was actually hilarious. I rocked them all weekend, obviously, and we have the photos to prove it. I mean, but it was just wild. It was like something happened and I'm not sure what, but it's pretty awesome.
Somebody
so
got Tory's
I'm just bringing everyone together. Yeah. So that was the best part, babe. So thank you. And I'm glad that we can still enjoy that gift for many years to come.
It's so funny. That's awesome.
So Michelle, you were talking a little bit about, how different this year your season is from last year. What can we expect to see coming up on Monday Countdown this season?
Well, let's see. What week are we in? Week 9? What have we done so far? Let's see. Let's start with last week. Last week we did. So in 2017, I had the great pleasure and honor of sitting with Marty Schottenheimer and his wife Pat when Marty was battling Alzheimer's disease. And after that piece aired, then Brian Schottenheimer reached out to me and said, "Thank you so much for not making it about the disease, but making it about their love story." And the love that our family all has. They're a very, very close family. So Brian and I have always stayed in touch. And once he got the gig, once he was named the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, I reached out and I said, "Hey, would you be interested in doing a legacy piece, kind of a full circle piece?" And he said, "Yes, absolutely." So we did that last week and it was beautiful. Pat Schottenheimer, who's still sharp as a tack, she was there for the interviews. She was phenomenal. And their son Sutton, Brian's wife Jemmy. It's just, this family is, I don't know. I mean, sometimes when you sit with people, you're like, oh, they're great. That's great. This is different. This is next level special. The way they love each other, the way they lead into their faith, the way that they lean on each other. So that was last week. What else have we done? So you asked me, what are we going to see? But I feel like I have to cover what we've done because, as you know, Tory, sometimes we don't know what we're going to see because it's dependent upon how the games go injuries. I can tell you what you're going to see in Green Bay, which this is interesting. We did over the summer a feature with Tucker Kraft, tight end for the Packers. He comes from a very small town. It's called Timberlake, not to be confused with Justin. Timberlake, South Dakota, population 517. And we flew out there and we took planes, trains, and automobiles to get to his little hometown and did an unbelievable sit down with his mom, his brother. They have a crop dusting business. So they fly these beautiful small planes and service like the greater areas of South Dakota. And everybody in their family does that except for Tucker and Tucker's older brother. And they played football. But when Tucker got injured this past Sunday, we were concerned that it wouldn't air, right? Because that's happened before. Tory and I went through a very similar situation where we had a piece that was supposed to air, and it actually had nothing to do with the person that it was a Shanahan-McCaffrey connection piece. Mm. And while, of course, you're going to talk about Kyle Shanahan and Christian McCaffrey, it was not really about that. It was about them growing up together and their families and how they intertwined and whatnot. Anyway, Christian gets hurt, and it comes out on the injury report an hour before the game that he's not going to play. So they decide not to run it.
Come on.
And we were like, man, but we're bringing it back. Aren't we, Tory? We are bringing it back. Week 12, baby.
But yeah, it's coming back. That's what you can
bringing
expect
it back.
to see. Lots of good stuff coming.
Yes, so that's coming. I don't know what else is coming. Patrick Queen.
Exciting.
I went fishing with Patrick Queen and his dad. That was fun.
I can totally see that.
Yeah, that's good.
I love that you mentioned, you work really hard for 7 months and you're off for 5. And that seems like a pretty fair trade-off, right? But when you're in the midst of the madness, kids, especially ones our kids' ages, don't really understand that there's going to be like delayed gratification. Mom's going to be home and fully present in 5 months. That doesn't mean anything to them. How do you balance those weeks, or how do you, I guess, even like have conversations with your kids about those weeks when you're going to be gone? And I'm sure your husband's very busy as well this time of year, so it can probably be pretty chaotic, right?
Yeah, yes. And I think, so you're correct. They don't get it. I mean, they're 7, right? I have twin boys. They're 7. They're kind of understanding the concept of time and calendars and dates and things like that, but they don't fully get it. So they just keep saying to me, like, where are you going now? So October, for a stretch of time in October, I was in 9 cities in 8 days and did 4 features. And they didn't see me, but I don't know. It's a lot of FaceTiming. It's just a lot of communication. It's a lot of, but here's the prize at the end of this. Like, most families, they work 9 to 5. We have this really special, unique job where we grind for 7 months and then we get to have time with you and just you guys for 5. And that's awesome. And they're like, oh, yeah, I guess that's okay. Like, that's a good trade-off. Like, they're kind of getting it, but it's still a lot of tears. It's still hard to leave. It's hard for me. As much as I think if I wasn't, well, I know this for a fact. If I wasn't working, I would be a mess of a human being. I need my career. I need to be able to show my kids that you can do both, and that, it's that what we do, especially what I do with interviewing people and getting to know them, like, that's an important lesson to teach my kids. Like, get to know someone, understand them. Everybody's different. Everyone has a story. So I'm thankful for that. But they are counting down the days until Super Bowl Sunday arrives, and we are done for a little bit. I will tell you that Joe, I mean, when Joe was at Fox for so many years, he was doing, at one point when our boys were born, he was doing Thursday Night Football, Sunday, baseball playoffs, the World Series, golf. And I was just like, holy shit. Can we curse on this podcast? It was wild. It was too much. So now the roles are kind of reversed, where he's working and prepping for the game, right? Like, he's got to do his boards and he's got meetings and production calls and all the things, but he's not traveling so much. And so when I'm gone for a stretch of time, there is no doubt, and he would tell you this. He's like, oh my God, like, get home. I need to hand off the kids to you. I need a little bit of, because it's hard. Parenting's hard. It's
Yes.
difficult. So, and this is his second time around with it. He's got 29 and a 26-year-old daughters. And now he always reminds me, he's like, I'm too old for this. And and I'm just like, yo, dude, don't act like I showed up on your doorstep with twin
Right.
boys. And I was
You
like, here we
signed up for this.
go.
Yeah. You knew what you were signing up for.
I mean, not only that, we did IVF. So zip it. Zip your lip.
Michelle got
That's
to
good. We
meet,
figured it out.
when you got to meet Sydney Michelle at Monday Night Football that one week, and she was probably 3 months old, and Joe was
yeah.
like, Michelle, put the baby down. Put the baby down. Put the baby down.
I did. Still to this day, I'm like, I would have another one. He's like, I'd rather run into moving traffic. So,
You had mentioned the IVF. I know probably, I don't know, you tell me, does it feel like a lifetime ago, like almost like a dream, like going through that whole process? And what do you remember about, kind of having that conversation for the first time and being like, I'm ready. Let's go figure this out.
Well, I was always ready. He knew from the jump that I wanted to be a mother. So that was okay with that. That was good. So we needed to start that process. And we had a couple years after we were married where we hung out and just had our time. I mean, I'm no spring chicken though. I was like, let's go. I mean, my kids I was 41 when they were born. But yes, I wouldn't call it a dream. I would call it a blur.
Yeah.
It was a lot. I will never forget that once my embryos were put back. You don't say put in, you say put back, right? I don't know why. I was always confused by that, but once they're put back, I was low, my body was low on progesterone. And I had to take a shot every day for 30 days. And progesterone, it was the biggest needle I've ever seen. And I hate needles. I don't know how I did IVF, but it was like this big, and it's like castor oil fluid, like going into you. And you had to do it. You had to switch like butt cheeks, and you had to like hit a very precise target. So I remember it was a Monday night game, actually, full circle. It was a Monday night game in 2007. We rolled out the Marty Schottenheimer feature that night. But I had recently had rotator cuff surgery the previous spring, and I was still kind of recovering from that. And I could not reach my ass cheek. So I called, shout out to Jess Krause, who was our production manager for many, many years. And I was like, hey, can you help me with this? She came right in. She's like, yeah, where do you need it? And just went bam. And I was like, okay. And so I guess we have to give thanks to Jess. She is part of she should be their godmother, really. She should probably be their godmother. They don't have godmothers. But yeah, I mean, it was just a blur, but thank God for it. People that I know that are going through it now, they ask me questions about the process, and I'm like, gosh, it's hard for me to relive in my mind. It all just kind of, I feel like that's how it is with a lot of things in life, though. It's like you forget the details and you just remember the big picture stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and thanks for sharing that with us, because I do think there's a lot of people listening who are in the process of it or thinking about it, and also thinking about because it's one thing to be pregnant and work in this business or work in any business as a working mom and have that secret. Like, I was so paranoid. My first pregnancy, I was a wreck. Tory and I were pregnant at the same time. I had another friend who was pregnant at the same time, and they were both having like sickness and symptoms and all that. And I was not. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's 1 in 3 is going to end in miscarriage. I'm the one. It's going to, and luckily, thank God, like my son was full term, and I have a 6.5-year-old boy now, and it's great. But like, I was a wreck for 3 months, and to the point where I didn't even want to tell anyone. I didn't tell my mom until like 6 or 7 weeks. And I didn't tell other family members until like the full 12, because so going to work, being exhausted, having all the emotions, the pregnancy hormones, and then still trying to work with this big secret that you feel like you're keeping. Like, I don't know why we do that. I know it's a really personal decision and everyone's different, but that was my experience. And so for you to go through IVF, which that whole process of anxiety and hormones and stress and physical everything.
On top of the other tough things on the road. Like,
right, exactly. And that starts so much earlier. So if you can think back to that, I know it was a long time ago, but can you think back to what that was like for you to try to manage that? Or were you pretty open with your bosses and your colleagues that you were going through this?
Oh, I was open. I was open with everybody. I mean, I didn't tell anyone until it really took. I mean, they knew that we were doing it. They knew that we were trying.
Mm.
And we went through 2 cycles that didn't work. And that is devastating. That will crush your soul because you feel like it's your fault. You feel
Yeah.
like you did something wrong. You weren't perfect in the process. And so that's on you. But that's just not the case. I mean, you you are blessed with the children that you have because of something higher and greater. And, I just believe that.
Yeah.
Um, but I was very open. The second that it took, and then we knew that I'm like, hey, I need you guys to be I just believe in full transparency. I think that's the only way to go. And if, if it goes a certain way, but you're still being fully transparent in the process, then it still goes your way in the end, right? But I do think it sucks. I know plenty of friends in the business that did have to hide it from their bosses or did have a terrible situation or outcome because of something that they went through during this process, like losing their jobs or getting demoted or getting, like, I mean, this was years ago, but I mean, I'm talking like 15 years ago, but I remember one of my colleagues at work, they wouldn't put her on the air because she was too pregnant.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just like, whew, that's savage. You don't, but I mean, that was also the, the business was so different then,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
that was before Me Too. That was before all that. But I remember that so vividly. And she sued and won, so good for her. But as she should have, right? But yeah, I mean, I just don't believe in that in life. I think full transparency is just kind of the way to go with everything.
Michelle, this will take you back to, and this is kind of what I want to end on before we go to our fun segment while we have you. But you and I were at dinner in West Hartford, and I had told you, what was this, 10 years ago, that I wanted to start writing. And that was it. It was just like this offhand comment. I was like, I love writing. I want to write more. And you go, so just do it.
Yeah, I'm like,
And like you said, full transparency, like you didn't sugarcoat it, but it was so simple. It was so
yeah.
simple in your advice. And I took it and I ran with it. And I was like, oh, like I never thought about it that way before. But
But
it sounds silly to say, but you need someone to keep you honest in that moment. And I am forever grateful to you for that. And do you feel that same way if you're giving young women advice when it comes to being a mother, being a broadcaster, all of the above?
yeah, I mean, I think that I do mentor a few young women like right now, and I'm very honest with them. Like, look, this is not what you think it is. And it is a grind. And there will be moments where you will throw your hands up and go, I really don't know that I want to do this anymore. Or is this really worth it? Because I'm not getting what I need out of it. Right. And, this sweet girl, I'm mentoring her right now. And she's like, I really want to do what you do. I said, just come with me to a game and shadow me and just hang out with me. And, she went and she did it and she like did the whole edit process with me. And then at the end, she's like, I think I'm going to do something different. I was like, good. Yes. Yeah.
Good.
Because
Great.
it's just it's just not easy. It's not easy what we do. It is gratifying, but it is a grind.
Yeah.
And you
Well, good
have
for
to
her
like
know that
really
now.
climb the mountain to get that gratifying, but a grind balance, right? Yeah, exactly. Good thing that she knows that now.
All right, Michelle, we're going to do our
Okay.
mom embarrassing moment of the week, or a mansplain moment of the week, or a mom win of the week, which is a nice uplifting way to end our pod this week. What do you think? You got one?
I feel like I have a mom fail every day. I feel like I'm very patient in my parenting. Joe is not. And we really battle with that. So maybe like my mom fail every day is really a fail between between us as a couple and as parents because we just parent so differently. So I'm like, okay, Wyatt, like, listen, let's just talk about this. And Joe will get there much quicker than I will, where he will say, just do it. What are you doing? Like sorry.
I think that's the gentle parenting versus the fuck around and find out method now.
No,
that's
I know.
trending,
I know.
right?
I've gotten better at but Joe and I are both very guilty. I can speak for him, although I feel like he should be here. We are very guilty of giving in to our kids. Like we give in to them too much. And, we always threaten like the consequence, or if you don't do this or you don't get that right, or you're not going to do your homework, or you're not doing that, then we're going to take this away. And then we never do it. And so we suck at that, and we need to get better at that.
Empty threat is what we need to do 100%. The next episode on. We need an expert.
Real. God, I could talk for hours about that.
Good start. I'm just going to stay on trend here because just seems to be the theme with me. Is I went to the grocery store with my kids like 2 days ago, and Braxton went to check out a bottle of ginger ale or something for me. And I was like, why are you doing that? Why are you getting me a drink? And he goes, oh, because that other big bottle is in the trash from last night, Mom. You finished it.
Busted.
And he didn't mean a big bottle of ginger ale. I just said that, but I was like,
I know what you're talking about.
Right. Thank you. And it's right in front of the person checking us. They don't care, but I'm just like,
what a con.
Right.
What a kind son.
Listen to everything. They listen to everything.
That was sweet that he thought of you, though.
This does remind me. Oh, God, do I tell this story? I will, but I don't know. After I tell it, I'm going to think about whether or not we should really.
We got a week to edit.
It sounds really, really entitled and shitty. So we do not always fly private. Okay, we fly commercial the majority of the time, but when we go on big trips with the kids when they were younger, Joe's like, we're going to fly private. Like, I cannot do a commercial, fine. If you can do that, Joe, okay, fine. And thank God for that, because it did help a lot. But I remember we went to the airport because we were picking up my niece, who was a minor at the time. You have to get her, or she still is. I mean, I think when you fly, you're not considered okay until you're 12-ish. She's 10. So we went to pick her up, and you have to go to the gate, and we're standing at the gate waiting for her. And the gate agent opens the door. Everyone's deplaning, and he's looking at Wyatt and Blake. This is a couple years ago. And he's like, oh, have you ever seen this before? Do you want to go check it out? And they're like, yeah, we've seen it, but we usually fly private. So I don't really. And I'm like, I said, no, what he meant was,
yeah.
I had no way out of it. I was just like, oh my God, I want to crawl in a hole.
See, they're always listening. They always know. They're very aware of what is happening.
Awesome. What in the hell, kid? Okay.
That's awesome.
So again, that's probably a mom fail. And again, that's like a mom fail.
They're the boys. They're the boys we've raised.
But when they were younger, I mean, Joe's like, we are not flying to Cabo and connecting when they're 3 or 4 and they're just terrors.
Yeah.
We're not doing it.
Hey, if you can do it, you can do it. There's no shame in that.
That's being smart.
Right? I guess so, yeah. That's
Fly
being
smarter,
smart.
not harder. Yeah.
That's right.
Mine is kind of sad and a little vulnerable, but last night, so I've been traveling too much, objectively. I've been trying to do it all and have been filling in multiple roles and multiple sports, multiple leagues. And I really am appreciative of that because a year ago, I transferred from a network cushy salary job to now being a freelancer, independent contractor. So I'm still learning how to say no to things because I've always said yes, right? So I'm saying yes to a lot of things. It's great, but it's definitely starting to catch up with me in my home life. And the kids are very aware that dada weekend that used to be really fun and really unique and really special is now the norm. And that's a little hard for them. We're walking home. I'm home now. Thank goodness. I'm home for 10 days. That's actually pretty good. But I'm still working. So last night we had a Golden Knights game and I was working it. So I was able to pick the kids up from school and bring them home. And then I got ready and had to go to the game. So I'm explaining to my son why we can't go to the park after school. And he gets really upset when we can't go to the park after school. So he's like, but mommy, he's like, you've been working too much. And he just straight up said it. And I was like, I know, honey, I have. And he's like, why do you have to work? And I was like, well, because, I'm trying to make money. Like, I'm trying to teach him lately. He's in first grade. We're trying to talk about money and how you don't just get things when you ask for them, you buy them, you earn money, things like that. So I'm using the money thing as the excuse, which it kind of is. And I'm like, we have to make money. He's like, but mommy, you have money. You have enough money. And I have money and I can give you my money. And I'm just like tearing up immediately. And I'm going to cry now, even thinking about it, because it was just so sad, right?
Yeah. That's so sweet.
Yeah. And he's right. We do have enough. I don't do it really for the money. I do it because I love what I do. And then that's hard to explain, right? Like, but it's important. Like, I want to have those conversations too. Like, well, no, but mommy enjoys doing what she does. And it's important to find a job that you are passionate about and that you want to do. And I hope you guys can do that someday too. These are all things that are good, but it really stung yesterday. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, babe. Yeah.
I can feel that. That would get me too. But they do, to the bigger point, the bigger picture, it is important for them to see you work. It is important for them to see you have a career and to thrive and to be passionate, because that's leading by example, right? And you want them to be able to do the same thing. So I think that mom guilt is so real, and I feel it all the time. But at the same time, those lessons that we're teaching them far exceed kind of what you're feeling in the moment.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
That's
And
so well said.
as women, like, we've talked a lot about on this podcast about how I want both of my kids to be able to see me work in sports as a woman, have credibility, talk sports, and just see that as so normal. And I love that more and more moms and women are doing that.
Mm-hmm.
They will. That's the best payoff. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen to that, sisters. I have mad respect for both of you so much, and I'm happy to be on your show. Thanks.
Likewise,
we
have been teasing you for a while, so everyone listening is going to be so pumped to finally have you. So thanks for making it work for us, Michelle. We cannot wait to see the rest of the stories coming up on Monday Night Countdown this season. A little self-love here, because that's going to be one of mine, but it's all the incredible storytelling of Michelle Beisner-Buck. Thanks, Michelle. Love you.
Love you guys. Thank you so much.
As usual, babes, thank you so much for your support. Please don't forget to subscribe so that you can be the first to know when our next conversation drops. Have a great day, and if no one told you yet, you're crushing it. See you guys soon.